Hey guys, DG Thunderer here, bringing you an analysis of the match between Huyahanachan and SuperJJ in the quarterfinals of the recent Gwent Challenger 3. Let's look at the decks that these players brought. Here you can see Huyahanachan's decks. Typical to his style, he doesn't really bring anything spicy. By that I mean he doesn't really target anything, and he doesn't throw any unexpected surprises into his decks. All of these are pretty typical meta decks that we see on the ladder every day. Here are JJ's decks. True to JJ's nature, he brings a lineup that is targeting a specific matchup. This time, he's targeting greatswords. Every deck JJ brings has muzzle and artifact compression, two cards that are great at shutting down greatswords. The one exception to this is his spy deck, but that runs two Vicovaro medics to shut down greatswords. JJ has a long history of targeting decks in tournaments, so it's no surprise to see him back at it again. Game 1. JJ brings his spy deck versus Huyahanachan's alchemy deck. An important thing to note coming into this match is that it is a rematch. There was a fantastic partial match before this, but due to technical issues the game had to be remade, so both players know about half of each other's decks. Most importantly, Huyahanachan knows that JJ runs Igni, but does not know that he runs Iris. JJ passes early in the first round, knowing that he has a strong, long round as spies. In round 2, Huyahanachan deals with the Impair Enforcers with Viper Witchers and even a Mandrake. Without the Enforcers killing emissaries, JJ is still able to find good medic value by resing a brigade created from Huyahanachan's Slave Driver in the previous round. A key moment in this match is when JJ decides to play Iris fairly early on in the round. While it seems odd for JJ to play Iris when he has only 2 units on the board, if we break down his hand we can see why. JJ is counting on his Impera Brigades to provide a lot of value this round. If he drops them down now, however, they will be at 10 strength, which is weak enough for a Viper Witcher to remove them. The emissary in his hand is going to pull the Nausicaa Brigade, which is his only way to kill Iris, so he can't play that yet either. Because of this, Iris is the only play that he can make right now. Huyahanachan's response to JJ's Iris is also interesting. Huyahanachan has Mardrome in hand, the perfect answer to Iris. He instead opts to play Vilgefortz. Huyahanachan knows that JJ has some Impera Brigades still to play, and that he likely has Joachim as well. Mardrome is guaranteed 10 value on whatever Joachim pulls out, possibly a lot more if it pulls out an Impera Brigade. That 10 or more value is greater than the 10 value that he gives to JJ by triggering Iris, so holding Mardrome is worth it. Math time! Let's take a quick tangent to look at the numbers behind this decision. If Huyahanachan plays Mardrome now, he gets -3 from removing Iris. Later, when he plays Vilgefortz, he gets -2 from burning the emissary. Then you have the +9 from Vilgefortz and plus whatever Vilgefortz pulls. By playing Vilgefortz here, Huyahanachan gets -3 from burning Iris, -10 from Iris's ability, +9 from Vilgefortz, plus Vilgefortz pull, +3 from Mardrome's Strengthen/Weakening, and finally X from Mardrome's Reset ability. We can cross out common items and simplify the equation to see that Mardrome only needs to reset 5 points for it to be equal with playing Mardrome to banish Iris now. It's also worth noting that Iris just buffed units by 5. Which means that at the very worst, saving Mardrome is just as strong as playing it now. At best, it could be a lot more. In the end, the game was decided by only 5 points. If JJ had found Joachim, Huyahanachan could have only won the game by saving his Mardrome. These are the kind of plays that set pros apart. It's easy to think that Mardrome is the perfect answer to counter Iris and to play it right away, but Huyahanachan at least estimated the numbers and knew that the math favored saving Mardrome. Game 2 is between JJ's Greatswords and Huyahanachan's Elf Swarm. In round 1, JJ makes a very early pass after establishing some carryover. This pass gives Huyahanachan control of the game, which allows him to set up a long round. In round 2, Huyahanachan plays Spy to regain his card, and then quickly passes. This ensures that he gets the long round his deck loves, and it limits the power of JJ's resurrections. In the third round, Huyahanachan avoids killing any of JJ's ships, which in turn gives JJ a dead card. In addition to that, JJ's Spear Maiden is also a dead card. The Greatsword deck wants to thin in the first 2 rounds and push for a short round 3. JJ opted not to do that in order to try to maintain card advantage, but in the end, He got some bad draws, and the decision cost him. Huyahanachan had a strong hand with all 4 golds and the tools to shut down 2 of JJ's boats. In the end, Huyahanachan shut down JJ's greatsword list quite thoroughly. For Game 3, JJ brings his consume list, and he finally gets to go up against Huyahanachan's greatsword list. This is the list that JJ has teched his entire lineup against, and this is the moment where reverse sweeps are made. The first significant play is JJ's decision to muzzle back his Necker. Muzzle is in this deck and in JJ's lineup in general specifically to deal with greatswords, and he opts not to use it for that purpose. The alternative is to play Maelorn here, but that does mean that he would have to use Slizzard in round 2 to fetch a Necker. That would mean 1 less Slizzard that he would have to get a Necker Warrior, a Forktail, etc. On the flip side, that greatsword that he could have muzzled ends up being 14 strength in round 3 and heals for another 6. That's 20 points that could have been prevented with a muzzle now. It's hard to say how this game would have played out if JJ had saved the muzzle for a greatsword, as there are a lot of variables, but I think that this is a crucial moment of the game. Now I want to focus on another decision JJ makes on his very next turn. JJ opts to pass. By this time, JJ has played 3 cards this round. After passing, he plays another 2 cards in round 2 before developing a Vran. This means he plays his Vran as his 6th card, which results in his Neckers not growing until his hand is half empty. As consume, it is essential to get your Vran eating as soon as possible, because each consume buffs all of your Neckers for about 7 to 9 total value. Now an early pass would normally be a good idea. Consume should win the long round 2, and with Caretaker in hand, JJ can win a short round 3 by stealing Huyahanachan's largest greatsword. The delay it causes on the Vran, however, could cost JJ about 16 points. Huyahanachan plays round 2 very well. He knows he's fighting to win this round. If he passes with only a few cards left, JJ can win with Caretaker or Osrol. If he passes with more than a few cards, JJ can win with his Neckers. So Huyahanachan needs to at least force out JJ's last card to deny Caretaker or Osrol. Because of this, he immediately sets up his engines, establishing 9 points per turn from his 3 boats and 3 greatswords. Those engines, along with his power plays of Restore and Genja, give him enough points to pressure JJ. Drawing Coral off of Ulderic seals the deal, and Huyahanachan walks away with a 3-0. I want to talk about tournament targeting. JJ brought a lineup that targeted greatswords, and yet he still lost to it the first time Huyahanachan played it. In Gwent, a very favorable matchup rarely gets above a 65% win rate. Even that is pushing it. Perhaps you don't draw the right cards, perhaps your opponent teched in a workaround to your strategy. It's never a sure thing. In a tournament setting, while it's great to target another deck, it is never something you can rely on shutting down completely. JJ did not draw Artifact Compression to stop a greatsword. He also did not end up muzzling a greatsword. Because of this, he just wasn't able to shut down the strong greatsword engines and take the win. That's all I have for you today. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up below, and subscribe if you want to see more. Until the next time, take care.